Hi. So this is our very first episode of our podcast. I haven't even decided what to name it. So let's go ahead and do that first. I think that would be a good jumping off point and we could come up with some, I don't know, let's be creative. But I want it to be our podcast. So because I think that you are very smart too. And I think that you should be involved in this entire process. But sometimes my ideas and my brain is just going and I don't stop to wait for you to be involved. So now you're involved.
It's on.
On the record. So let's just start out of the gate with a little bit of pressure. What should we name it?
Pressure. No, I'm just kidding.
Under pressure. Coming down on you.
I mean, I like the idea behind pressure and like refinement, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like a lot of times whenever people are struggling and going through struggles, like they see that as a bad thing. And in reality, what it's doing is stripping away at things that no longer serve us and refine us, right? And so we can be the truest version of ourselves. So I think something in that vein is kind of for me on target, but I don't know how that's where your creativity comes in. Like, what is it?
You said that though, because very much so has been the theme of the week, and we'll get to why it's the theme of the week later. But the theme of the week was be grateful for your sins. And I caught it in a dream and I was like, what? So I kind of changed the words around when I wrote it down in my dream journal. And then I was like, but is that self integrity if I'm changing the words around from the words that I got in my dream? So no. And so I'm acknowledging that publicly as we speak. But then the understanding came later of what that means. And it means be grateful for your mistakes because your mistakes are what brought you to where you are now and you are growing from them. It's like a little cracks in a pot where all kinds of beautiful plants are breaking through, right?
Mhm.
To grow regardless of what. Like those pictures whenever nature is like taking back a mall.
Yeah.
That's what I see in my head. Would we be ungrateful for all of those beautiful plants that are growing, that are giving us oxygen, that are feeding the earth, and that are creating possibilities for more and abundant life? No. So, why would I be sitting here in shame about those things instead of being grateful for those things?
Yeah.
So, really, what you said was tuning into that theme of the week. It's Monday. You're already tuning into the theme of the week. So, that's pretty cool. Do, 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 do. But honestly, I think that's a good idea. Like pressure, the strength of being under pressure, the wisdom of being under pressure. I read a story today about Abigail, and Abigail was one of David's wives, and she brought him wisdom before he became king to not destroy a people out of anger, to take a break, take a breath, chill out, bro. Breathe, and because of her existence, it brought him wisdom. And I thought that was a really cool story because, sometimes we need to be reminded to take a breath, but that pressure is good too. So you come with your heart. I don't know. I don't know. What do you think? We'll figure it out. We'll figure
I
it out
mean,
and then it'll be named.
then we're gonna be like, check it out. We named it.
Yep. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
It's been named.
Oh my gosh.
What?
The name of the podcast should be Check It Out. We named it. Look, bruh. What's your podcast name? Look, bruh. What? What's your podcast name? Look, bruh. That's a good podcast name. That will get some attention. Just
It
say
reminds me of Dude, Where's My Car? Yeah.
that's funny. And then
Yeah.
it would be funny to older people like us. And then it doesn't.
Right.
So, and that's probably my demographic. Maybe younger people might like it too, because we talk about informative stuff, or we are going to talk about informative stuff. This podcast is not, let's do a little PSA. This podcast is not going to be for the weak, friends. We're not going to talk, it's not going to be some boring, droning on BS. Like right now, you may think it's boring, but it's just the beginning, my friends. Anyways, so I also want to just go ahead and plug our sponsors, Jennifer Lopez Fitness, coaching, getting you out of ruts, helping you to change your lifestyle to make a better, just better decisions when it comes to food, exercise, body movement, all of the above, help you to have a little bit more accountability and to help you just like kind of catapult into a lifestyle of health. It's not about weight loss. It's not about having muscles. It can be about those things. You can vary your goals when it comes to those things, but what it's really about is creating a lifestyle, a sustainable lifestyle of health in which you are actively building muscle so that you can prevent all kinds of stuff from happening when you're really old, like breaking your hip or becoming the life alert lady. Both of those things do not sound
Yeah.
like fun to me. Does that sound like fun to you, Tori?
No,
Mm,
no,
okay.
no. I had kids young. So I want to be around to see as many generations as possible, but I want to have a full life in that time that I'm here. And the only way I can do that is to be mobile and to move my body. So, because, you know, I've got a grandmother who's 91 years old and she can't see, but that woman can move. And part of the reason she's actually, no, she's 93. What am I talking about? She's 93. Yeah, like the reason she's still doing as well as she's doing is because she never stopped moving. And she says that because if she sits for too long, she says, I feel the rigor mortis starting to set in. And I'm like, oh no.
Death is coming on me.
Yes, I need to get up and move.
I agree. I think that like the pillars of longevity, and so that's like what Jennifer Lopez Fitness is all about. The pillars of longevity are really muscle, mobility, and nutrition. M&Ms, muscles, nutrition, mobility. It's super easy to understand and super easy to remember, right? Mobility is one that is not really talked about in public circles, and that should just, I'm going to say it all the time because a light needs to be shined on mobility. Without mobility, you can't get up and down off the ground. I'm doing a challenge right now. Tori is in the challenge. She's also my best friend, by the way, for anybody that doesn't know the dynamic of this relationship. My name is Jennifer Lopez, and this is Toria Wilson. Her name is not actually Toria Wilson.
Oh,
Her name
it's
is Tori. So, Tori, introduce yourself. We could do that part too.
okay.
It'd be the most chaotic thing ever.
So I'm Victoria Williston, but I go by Tori or Toria, as Jen likes to call me, which is my alter ego, my other side.
Not in that weird witch way. No, she's not a witch.
Oh no, I mean I'm magical, but I mean,
Not the
take
same.
that how you will. But um,
We watched Practical Magic yesterday.
oh, I love
Well,
that
I,
movie.
I love that movie. I think all girls like that movie. I want that house. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. So we have been friends for 2 decades, basically. We've raised kids together. We raised each other because we did a lot of growing up in that time. And yeah, I mean, I'm still raising kids. You're still raising kids. We're doing this thing called life and getting better at it. We've seen different, multiple versions of each other. I feel like we've lived through different versions. And I think some of the best friendships and long lasting relationships that you'll have in your life, in any, whether it's like romantic or platonic or familial, it's going to be, you're going to see and be able to grow and work with all the different versions of the that people grow through, right? So and we've done that, so here we are
Here we
standing
are,
on it.
standing on it. It's a beautiful thing. I have gotten to see Tori's kids grow up, and she has gotten to see our kids are our kids. They're our kids.
Yep, there are kids.
There are kids. So as in a very hetero life mate type way,
Yeah, exactly.
but they are ours. And they know that too. Like they know they can come, like her kids know that they can come here, and my kids definitely know that they can go there without a shadow of a doubt for any reason. And that's how it was for us just growing up having kids together. So
Yeah.
beautiful thing. My name is Jennifer Lopez. I am the head coach at Jennifer Lopez Fitness. What? And also, I am the founder of Investment Warriors Club LLC, which Toria is also co founder of that business as well. We will be expanding on that as we go through existence in this podcast. I'm so excited about this podcast because we have an opportunity to have fun and talk about just fun, silly, stupid shit. You know what I mean? Like on a regular basis. And I think that is going to be a powerful thing. I don't know. Like we talk about the most crazy shit, and sometimes I really do wish that we recorded it because it's like there's these huge revelations and breakthroughs that come through some of our conversations that don't get their time in the sun. They just are between us, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say that has its own, but no, it's its own special thing to have that in that moment. But
Phone. Yeah, go ahead.
also being able to capture that, because it, just like even for us to be able to go back and reflect on it ourselves, because there's certain times that like I will say something to you and I know that it's not me speaking, it's something speaking through me,
Yeah.
because when I think back to it, I can't verbalize it in the exact way that I get the gist of it, but it's not the exact way. And the exact way is powerful because it's not me that's speaking, it's something that's speaking through me. And so just to have that, the potential to have that and go back and reflect on that is powerful for us. And then, just treats and deliciousness for everybody else.
There's people that can receive this really well at our podcast and every all the off the wall stuff that I'm likely to say. All right, so we plugged the coaching from our sponsor, of course. And I did want to talk about today productivity and hard work, the value of hard work, and flow state. Coming into a flow state of work, like effort, right? Part of doing more than one podcast before I ask people to be on this podcast is helping us to be more in flow state, right? It will help us to know how a conversation should go, and then our viewers get to grow with us, which makes it fun for them too, because they're getting to see it from the very beginning with this kind of cookie cutter behind the scenes, but nothing is cookie cutter with Jennifer Lopez. I did a little bit of research. I was looking at kind of different things that we could think about. And when it comes to work, and I want to see if you think that this idea is true for you. I know that this is true for me, but so those who view Amy, all of these people that I was doing research, like the people, the scientist that says this, or the psychologist, or whatever, they all have these really long last names. Like this lady's last name is Rosinshewski. Amy Rosinshewski. I think that's how you say it. I could be wrong, but whatever. So she said that she found in her study that those who view their work as a calling, as fulfilling, as socially useful, report the highest satisfaction with their work and their lives. I
I would say so.
what about your job do you like? Does your job have all that stuff?
Yes. So I think that's very interesting because my history is I have had professional jobs that I'm good and capable at. I don't have formalized, finalized upper education. I have some college, but no degree, no diploma or anything like that. Or no, I have diplomas, but no degree. That was big. In the first years after I graduated in the early 2000s, so getting into the professional business world at that time, it was super important. You had to have formal education because they wouldn't consider people who didn't. So I really kind of had a grind, and I did. And there was something to be said because of working your way up, right? Working your way through all of the positions. And I did that in multiple places and times throughout my professional career. I also took time, about 5 years of my life, to be a stay-at-home mom, and that was the hardest job that I've ever had because it is 24/7. It doesn't stop. You don't get a break. And it was the best job that I've ever had at the same time, right? Now I'm thankful for the job that I have now, which is I do contract work. And I think what I enjoy the most about my job now is the flexibility that I have in it. So I work from home. That's huge for me because I'm a single parent. So it gives me flexibility to be available and be in a home location for my kids. So even if I'm in my room working and she's here after school, she can still peek her head in and say hello to me. If I'm not on location here, I missed out on a lot of that in the years that I wasn't working from home. So I know that is a big thing for me, is to be able to work from home. I also enjoy the aspect of the people person interaction that I get with the job that I have now. I educate people on insurance, which is important because you have to have health insurance, right? And so understanding that and really being able to know how that works and make it work for the best that you can with for the money that you spend on it, I think is super important. So I enjoy those aspects because I feel like it is beneficial. So those are the things that I really enjoy about it. But I struggled for a long time getting to that point because I felt like I needed to have a job that spoke to like my purpose as a person, right? And do I feel like insurance is my purpose as a person? No, I don't.
What?
I think it's a great thing. It's an amazing tool, right? But it's not my purpose as a person, I feel. But I feel fulfilled in my job because it does speak to those other purposes that I find, which is that person to person contact, that education piece that helps people understand something that they didn't before, because I've enjoyed that. All of those things together makes it something that I enjoy. But do I feel like it is the same as what you're doing now? No, I think that you are in a completely different place. I think that you and what you've built for yourself with your coaching and what you do for people is truly stepping into your purpose, right? And I think that there's aspects of what I do in that as well, but with my job, but I think you are more so like you are living into your purpose. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes. And it's hard and it's scary and it's overwhelming, but it's also really cool and it's really beautiful and it's really fun. What I would love to see for you, and as my best friend, is for
Hmm.
you to be able to step into that too. Because it's an area of, there's that doggy. Hi, baby boy. I love her dog, by the way, you guys. That's my baby. Yes. And he's very cute. He's good looking.
Aussie.
Because, like, I know that anybody can have the fullness of what they want. It doesn't have to be like just like the I love this aspect and this aspect, and it is great. It can be like I love all that. Am I in some perfect, beautiful flow state? I'm in a pretty decent place, but like at the same time, there's issues. It's the way that the issues are approached that has changed. And like when there is something going on that is not balanced, I find the balancer. What's the balancer that sets me free from what I hate, right? Or the struggles that I have. And like what it is just finding what can create balance in that moment. And it's very hard to explain, but we will definitely touch on like what, because I've been doing, okay, so I've been doing Jungian dream analysis, and
Mhm.
I wanted to talk about this already, but I think it goes to with like daily habits, different things that you can do to move from work to flow to productivity on a regular basis and move the needle forward on you stepping to that place. We are all going from one place of understanding of what we want to a new consciousness of understanding what we want to a new, because we get more and more honest with ourselves about things as
Yeah.
we grow, right? So like whenever that happens, we are given the opportunity to step into a new uncharted territory or just hang out in our comfort zone,
Yeah.
right? And that's one thing that like David Goggins talks about is like your ego will try to pull you back because it's trying to protect you from potential dangers or the unknown or whatever. And you got to tell that bitch to shut the fuck up. and follow your heart too.
Yeah.
That speaks to like your daily habits, like what you do every day, what you're grateful for every day, what you try to look for every day. And like one thing that I started to try to look for was better understanding of my brain. And as I started to do it, of course, so what happens to me, Tori knows, we might as well just like, no, there's no order of anything. Tori knows that I have had a wild ass life. If anybody's life has been insane, we can talk about that for fucking a million podcasts, okay?
Yep.
But at the end of the day, it comes down to what my daily habits became. And Tori was around, you were around whenever I first moved to Colorado. And
Mhm.
my daily habits started off as just getting up and doing sit ups and doing air squats and then meditating. Those three things were staples in. And I remember you saying on the phone, this is all very inspiring. Why are you doing this? And I was like, because I fucking have to, or everything is going to go to shit. And I feel it. I knew something had to change in my life and it had to come fast. The daily habits that got implemented were like change agents that it could occur. And I was doing some of it whenever I was in Texas, but I wasn't waking up at 4:30 in the morning every single
No,
day.
no.
So my life has been crazy. My mom was a like mystical psychic. I don't know. Like what my mom, some people would say she was a witch, but she believed in Jesus. So, and she like, if there was a witch around her, she'd be like, there's a witch. That person is evil. And so I don't know, but she had magical powers. My brother swears that she was a witch also. I don't think that's the case, but I've had this thing my whole life where like, well, for my whole adult life, like if I needed a book, I would walk into a bookstore and have just this feeling that I need to go buy a new book. And whenever I would not find the book would find me, okay?
Mhm.
But there was intention there, right? Like there was intention to go into the bookstore. There was intention to like,
Tap into that feeling and follow it.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. There was intention there, okay?
Yeah.
Well, over time, that evolved to, as things often do in the psychic realm, that evolved it to books just showing up. Not me walking into a bookstore having an intention, just me having a thought. I need, oh, maybe I should buy that book. And then the book shows up. Or let me unzip this pocket of my suitcase. Here is The Voice of Knowledge by Don Miguel Ruiz. What the heck? Um, and that also happened with the Four Agreements. Also, I found it in a take a book, leave a book, like upon thinking that I needed it, right? Like just wild stuff. Okay. Well, when my mom passed away, she also decided to send me, she didn't decide to send me, I wanted her books. She had told me that like a couple weeks before she passed away, I need to find a way to send you these books. And I was like, why? And I was like, why aren't you reading them? I didn't know. She was like, she knew that something was up, right? I didn't know.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then after she passed away, David was gonna put him in a library or something, or donate him to the library. I was like, you better not donate those books. You better send them all to me. So I made him ship me from North Carolina 75 pounds of books. And in those 75 pounds of books is this book by Henry Reed. Henry Reed was a doctor and he was studying Edgar Casey. Edgar Casey was a psychic that diagnosed illness. I want to say in the 1930s. I could have that wrong. But this book was written in 1988. I'm reading it for the second time, but this book was the inspiration for me to start Jungian dream analysis. And I told Tori to start too. I do not have any Carl Jung books currently. I have to go buy some. But and I'm definitely going to go buy some, like stacks and stacks of them, because I found a magical answer to something that has unlocked something very powerful in my brain. And I want to share that with everybody else, because like I was able to unlock years and years of trauma. How many years of trauma? The same, like so much
Yeah. Like your formative years, like deep stuff. Yeah.
in 2 months, just doing Jungian dream analysis every day and working through it every day. And literally, my dreams telling me to do this to guide other people so that you can find this. Because as you do this, you start to solve problems in your subconscious. Like you integrate your subconscious with your conscious, and you start to solve problems that you never thought you would be able to even face. Stupid shit. Well, it seems stupid now. Like it's a wild adventure. So because of this book, I started doing that, and I use ChatGPT every single day to dig into the Jungian interpretation with very specific instructions. I want to put a caveat for ChatGPT, because if you do not give ChatGPT very explicit instructions, it is not going to give you the right answer. It is not going to give you the right answer. You have to find the answer on your own. You have to double check that work, because if you don't, you're going to turn in a paper to some college teacher, and that teacher's going to be like, that is not a fact, Jack, and you're gonna fucking get in trouble. So just for and everybody else, like people that are freaking putting together nutrition plans from ChatGPT, they're not accurate. The calories are not accurate. If you break it all down and you do all the math, none of it's accurate. I promise you. I promise you. Promise you. As somebody that programs nutrition every freaking day, it's not accurate. Anyways, so there's that. I use ChatGPT and say use proven clinical dream analysis in conjunction with Jungian dream analysis, and tell me what this means. And I read what it means, and then I interpret my dream from that myself. I do not use ChatGPT to 100% interpret my dream. I do it how they instruct it in this book, and they say to use your instincts and to use like what is meaningful. It just helps to have a suggestion and an understanding of, in like Jungian psychology, what does that mean? Because if it the archetype that it's representing is often something that is representing like a dual nature in you, a push and a pull that's happening, an alchemical process of transmutation that's happening in your life. And we can get into that as many as times, because like you have a ton of mini alchemical processes filling up the space of one big alchemical process every single minute.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just like, so that's the stuff that we talk about on the phone, and how, like, how whenever that part of your brain gets unlocked, first of all, you can't lock it back.
No, you can't. Nope.
And but like it's so valuable, like the information that I've learned about myself in just 2 months of doing this is valuable. It helped me because there's little alchemical processes that happen in every single chapter of the Bible. I'm also doing the esoteric meaning of all of the Bible, well, from Joshua 10 on, because I didn't start it until Joshua 10, the esoteric meaning of every single chapter in the Bible from front to back. And that has been so fun, especially in First Samuel, because First Samuel is action packed. They should, I told you this the other day, like
Mm-hmm.
they should make a epic movie out of First Samuel, and but make it like cool, like the cinematography awesome. Don't make it like cheesy, because First Samuel is dope. Like David is a badass. Okay, you guys. The whole story is just amazing. And that brings us to that story. But I want to go down that pathway in a minute. Have you been doing any of the Jungian dream analysis? No.
No, I haven't. I have been paying more attention to my dreams. I've been more so in tune with the feeling that I have after my dream versus necessarily. I understand that by writing down keywords, images, things that I remember will help me unpack that at a faster pace. I get that. I just haven't done it yet. So that's that. But I have been very in tune with my feelings and how I'm left. Because there are times people say, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning, right? It's probably because they had a dream that they were trying to figure out something in their subconscious and they couldn't work through it. And so, because they didn't remember
Don't even
that,
try.
huh?
They don't even try.
Right. And so then that leaves them with a feeling, right? And I have those. I mean, there's been times that I wake up and I'm just like, come at me. Somebody try me today. Toria Wilson comes out. But
That's fine, y'all. That's fine, by the way. But
but
imagine if you did what your best friend asked you to do, that you set a goal to do.
it would come faster.
Yes. Yes. So, well, but like that's like my job, right? I'm
Yeah.
here to challenge everybody on the planet Earth. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I'm mad confrontational, and I will definitely challenge everyone on the planet because if you're wrong, you're wrong. And that's friction. That's how iron sharpens iron.
Pressure, refinement.
Yes, pressure, refinement. Maybe that'll be the name of it. Just pressure, refinement, or ruby dough. Ooh, and then nobody knows what that means, and it's mystical and cool. And then you have to go look it up, and then you're like, and then you start to learn about all the stuff that I'm talking about, and suddenly your brain starts to open up, and you decide to do good, healthy things for your body because that's what I'm trying to mind meld you and get you to do, and your mind, and your soul, and everything. And it's like there's I'm not special, right? Like we are not special from like where we were to where we are. We came a long way. And it wasn't because there's some like it was because we have magic inside of us.
Well, listen, so it's not that it's not that we're not unique because everyone is unique in their own way, right? But you're not special as in the sense that like it doesn't happen for everybody. It's like it's the same. Everybody has maybe not the same exact struggle, but everybody has struggle, right? And it's how we interpret it and how we move through it. And it doesn't ever go away. Just because you level up doesn't mean that you don't have problems. You know what I'm saying? There's no arrival. You don't ever arrive.
No,
Like
you
it's
keep going
it's
through
it's the
another
journey,
process.
right? And you get new sets of issues and it's a new level of what to unpack, right? And so it never goes away. And so it's everybody's unique in their own right. I'm not trying to take that away because like when we sit there and we tell our kids you are special and you are unique and you are beautiful, like that is
Right.
real because everybody is that. But at the same time, we're all also the same because we're one. And so when we work on ourselves, it in turn affects the people in our direct vicinity because it creates ripples, right? And when we
This
level up,
because everybody shares a subconscious. We all have the
yeah,
same subconscious.
yes,
That's why, like my dreams, in my dreams, I can be like, this happened in my dream, and then 12 hours later, be like, what? Is this really happening? And that happened several times, right?
yeah,
With Andrew Huberman's TV shirt, his t-shirt,
yeah,
with his t-shirt with the octopus inside of the circle. So the cephalopod that he loves. There you go, Andrew Huberman. There's your plug, bruh. Why not plug the Hubes? Because he's gonna pick up this podcast. I don't know if he knows this yet, but that's
it's
what he's
happening.
gonna do. That's like the plan. He's gonna pick up this podcast. And I'm putting that in the air without any kind of hesitation or doubt. You see this face?
Yep.
Just saying. Confidence. I am confident in that fact. All right, we're gonna talk about daily habits because that is what is going to, at the end of the day, how do you get to flow state? How do you get to the place of consciousness where you're seeing Because flow state's not just a place in between, like this one scientist, where did she say it? Her name was crazy too. Um, Mihaly, but no, Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. So Mihai Csikszentmihalyi was her name. And she said that there's this place between overwhelmed and stressed, and then apathy and underwhelmed and bored. And that's where the flow state happens. And my theory is you can paint this whole state over a section of your life. It doesn't have to be just whenever you are in the groove, right? It doesn't have to be just that time whenever like you feel like whenever you're playing basketball and suddenly you are just able to crush people at basketball. For me, it's volleyball. I will get in the like flow state really fast with volleyball. Within moments of playing volleyball, something takes over everything that I am, and I am badass at volleyball. Just FYI, if you ever want to play volleyball with anybody, it's a good idea to play with this person. I am not horrible. I don't stay in practice. I don't often play volleyball. It's not something
Right.
I work on. So whenever I get into that place, for whatever reason, the challenge that stretches me in that moment puts me in a state of flow. And I think that's a wonderful idea because being underwhelmed and apathetic and just getting used to like kind of like the mundane grayness of life, right? Like bleh. Like, have you ever seen I love Le Petit Prince or The Little Prince? My grandfather adapted that to cartoon called The Little Prince from Outer Space or something like that. I don't remember the name. I think that is the name, The Little Prince from Outer Space. And the theme song was The Little Prince from Outer Space. Antoine Asbury just had a really cool life, but his life was similar to my grandfather's life. He was the writer of that book. In the movie on Netflix, like everything that is essential is really gray and mundane, right? That's where I see apathy, being underwhelmed, and boredom, right? And then people, what were you going to say? Go ahead.
Have you seen the Disney movie Soul?
No, I don't think so.
It's okay. You should watch it. So it speaks to exactly what you're saying. Okay. The main character, it's all done with jazz music. So,
Yeah, I've seen it like on the TV when walking back and forth,
right.
you know?
So, but the whole point is this main character, he feels like he's about to get this shot at life that he's been trying to have, right? He's a middle school band teacher, but he wanted to make it big playing jazz because he's a musician. And right when he thinks he's going to get this opportunity to try out with this amazing jazz saxophonist and her band, he falls into a manhole and he dies. It's watching the progress of his soul and how he's trying to get back to his body, right? It shows like the whole aspect of like how a soul finds its purpose and finds its body on earth and all of this good stuff. And he runs into this one soul that's got a number and she's been around for forever and she does not want to go to earth. She does not want to figure it all out. But there's one point when they go into the hall of like figuring out, he's trying to be this, show her what all the great things about going to earth is, right? And being a human and living a life. And
Yeah.
but it shows his because he's like, this isn't my life. And he puts his hand on it and then it shows his life and it's all very gray. It's very mundane, right? There's also a point where like people who are alive can enter into the flow state and they're in between consciousness, right? So souls can interact with them and you can see them. And like it's a really cool movie because it has a lot of visually awesome things that explain stuff that's very hard to explain, but it talks about that a lot, right? It's a frequency, right? When you get into that flow state, it's a frequency of like where you're at. And I think not to jump ahead, but when you're speaking about having those like morning rituals and routines, that what that does is it creates that frequency. It's a rhythm. right? And what it does is it creates a flow state over your entire life. So you don't have to be like dialed in. You can still be going about life, but you're in a flow state because you've created that frequency and that rhythm in your morning rituals and routines, right?
That, yes, of course. But
Okay.
like everyone speaks to a different aspect of your health too. So it's doing both at the same time, right? Like
Yeah.
it's creating this natural flow of your hormonal response, right? Because you're doing things that are productive in moments that regulate your hormones, right?
Yeah.
You're also able to regulate your hormones through meditation. I know that sounds crazy, but people do all kinds of healing stuff. You can go to a Joe Dispenza retreat and see all kinds of testimonies of people that have healed themselves with meditation and done all kinds of cool stuff with meditation, because meditation puts you in a state of mind that is, you can deconstruct things and reconstruct them in the way that you wish. It takes time. It's a practice. The reason why you can deconstruct these things and then reconstruct them in the way that you wish is because of how meditation goes. You go all the way down to the emptiness. And this speaks to Buddhism, but it also is present in Christianity. It also is present in like most traditions. The dream analysis, in addition to being grateful, that is one part of my morning that I have in there is I'm grateful. Like I list out 7 things, sometimes 8, sometimes 12 things that I'm grateful for. I do more than 3 because I have to think if I do more than 3. If you do 3, you can rattle 3 off easy. I'm grateful for love. I'm grateful for the sky. I'm grateful for whatever, the moon. Like you could just think of 3 things to be grateful for. But if you go past 3, you have to like sit. It went from being like, I'm grateful for my house. I'm grateful for the food that we have to I'm grateful for the wisdom of truth. I'm grateful for the understanding of this. I'm grateful for this growth. It evolves you in a way that you might not even believe that it would evolve you in, because it's such a simple act. It's such a simple thing that you do. But then but your daily habits throughout your day, how you eat, what you listen to, who you're talking to, who's by you whenever, like, say you work and you work in a cubicle and the next guy in the cubicle is a big fat butthole and he smells like poo. Nobody likes that, right? So like you have to but you can curate those
Poor
things.
guy.
He's fake.
So this definitely speaks to our nature, though. I'm like, poor guy, and you're like, it's not real.
But you can curate that, and what people don't understand is that you can cultivate and change your. Does it take 1 minute? No. You know what I mean? It takes work, but you have to do the work on yourself. It's not these external things, the circumstances that are out on the outside of you are reflected from what is going on the inside of you. And like even Joe Dispenza talks about pulling matter through a needle of manifestation. That's how you do it. Like, how do you create your life? Is, well, you create what you want on the inside. And what I want on the inside is peace. And what I want on the inside is the ability to serve others. And what I want on the inside is to help people understand themselves better and to know that it's okay. Like, if you're 44 years old and you don't understand the way your brain works, that's fine. Because I'm also 44 years old and I'm trying to learn how my brain works too. And
And don't beat yourself up that you didn't know how your brain worked, because to be honest, our world didn't know how our brain worked like it does now, 20 years ago, 10 years ago. Like
10
the
years ago, where was my consciousness? Did I even get,
yeah,
well, I did. I was 10 years ago, I was very much like in the throes of like starting to figure this stuff out and then like being frustrated with everybody because they don't understand what the fuck I'm talking about.
yeah,
But that doesn't exist anymore either.
yeah.
Like that's not something, because it's like, okay, well, the right people know exactly what I'm talking
Our
about.
circles have changed.
We've been talking about, me and you have been talking about this privately all week, and I wanted to bring this up to everyone. And we also need to talk about this character in the Bible named Doeg and why he's a punk. Because I do not like that guy. Whenever I read what he did, my
He's
heart
gonna
was
start a campaign against him.
Doeg. We're canceling Doeg, okay, folks? All right. So First Samuel is like the is action packed. For the first prophet comes, his name's Samuel, and then he has to pick a new king. The people want a king. Okay, his name is Saul. He represents your ego. Okay, Saul
Mhm.
lives inside of your heart, and he represents your ego. Okay, because the people wanted a king, and God was just like, "What, bruh? I was already your king. This is what I was doing, like whatever." And they're like, "No, we want a real king." And he's like, "I am a real king. All right, man. Here's your king." And Samuel's like, "Hey," tells the people like, "This king is gonna suck. You still guys want this king? God is your king, but this king is okay. I mean, like, he's gonna be an egomaniac." And they're like, "We're good with the egomaniac." So God implements Saul. That is like the very much Jennifer Cliff Notes of that story.
Mhm.
Okay. Then they have to find David, and David represents the heart, not the ego. Okay. And so the heart is the heart can be volatile.
Yeah.
And then Jonathan, which is Saul's son, represents the will. And Jonathan and David are besties. And David's daughter is married. I mean, Saul's daughter is married to David. Saul's like trying to kill him because he is an egomaniac. Okay, so I said all that to say this. The bottom line is that we can choose between our ego or our heart. Okay.
Mhm.
And it's important to, whenever we're weighing this, okay, whichever we choose, which should be our heart, wisdom comes and is like a helping hand to that. Even if you're not like into the Bible or into, it's just a cool story. And if you read the whole story and you dig into the whole story, and I want to inspire somebody to do that because it's interesting, okay? Because understanding that level of discernment between your ego and your heart. And if you think about it, anytime you're in fear, anytime you're overwhelmed, anytime you're in like a bad spot, it's because of your ego. It's not because of your heart. Sometimes it's because of your heart. And that's whenever wisdom comes and it's like a blanket. Okay.
Right.
That's why you need both of these things. That's why it's important. And it's illustrated in that same text why it's important. But I just want to reverberate throughout everyone that is listening that has ears can understand like you can use that as a rudder for discernment, right? Is this speaking to a place of fear? Well, if it is, then I probably don't need to jack with it. Is somebody making me feel shame? Oh, well, I shouldn't hang out with them, right? What do you think?
I'm master of vibes, right? So as a Virgo, we're always known to be able to walk into a place and read the room pretty quickly and people pretty quickly and know who we want to spend energy on, which is why we can come across really icy cold to some people, right? Because we just don't. I mean, I just don't have much to give you because I can tell that there's not going to be any type of reciprocation back, right? Um,
Not the
but
kind that you want.
right, exactly, not the kind that I want.
We've talked about a lot of stuff. I talked about discernment, we've talked about fitness, we talked about mental health, we talked about daily habits, flow state, and flow state. I think many flow states exist too on the inside of that. Like, I think that there is still flow state whenever, like, right now, I feel like even though everything in my life is definitely not perfect, I do feel very much in a certain type of flow state. Right? But it may not be the exact kind of flow state that this person means. I do think that's what she means because I am not overwhelmed. I'm not stressed. I'm just observing my feelings. I've become the observer. And that was assisted by that dream journaling. That was assisted by analyzing my dreams on a daily basis. Okay. So, like last night, I didn't do it for the first time in a long time. And today I felt annoyed because now I'm not where I want to be as far as what I was supposed to learn while I was sleeping, right? Well, that knowledge cannot be bridled, right? That knowledge cannot be held back. My subconscious is going to make it creep in either way today at some point, I'm sure. But to have that as like a guide of creation of neuroplasticity, I've gotten to the place where I wake up every dream cycle and write something. And so even though I wasn't writing, because I was like, maybe I'll sleep better. It's not even bad either because I wake up at the end of the dream cycle, I write down the keywords that I remember, and then I freaking fall right back to sleep 8 seconds later and go into a different dream cycle. But I've trained my mind to dream. I even woke up in my dream. I woke up in my dream. I was aware that it was a dream and God emailed me on the top of the dream like somebody like it's a video and somebody's writing a caption on the front of it.
Hmm.
Big hot pink block letters, and for whatever reason my brain was like, this is an email. And it said, you are loved, you are protected. Then that whole day I was in this most beautiful flow state. It was really cool. I can't fully describe it because I feel like it was very much for me and not for other people.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this can be achieved by anyone. 2 months, and I was able to destroy shame that was deep seated from age 16. But I was able to destroy and just look at it like, "Pff, what, bitch? You hit like a bitch."
Hmm.
I wanted to do with you is this exercise of discovering your strengths. Okay.
Yay.
So discovering your strengths, what activities bring you pleasure? And you have to be honest. Like, so I say, I put on there, be real. Drama. Do you like to stir up drama? And people will say no because they don't want to be the person that likes to disturb drama. But do you have integrity with yourself that says, are you sure about that? Right? Like asking yourself those harder questions. I know you don't like to stir up drama at all. So is it drama? Is it being a host at parties? Right? Like, do you love hosting? Um, is it being in your room by yourself writing? Is it being in your room and doing yoga? Is it meditating? Like, is it like what things like helping others, serving others? Like what things? So what would you say brings you pleasure?
I think, yeah, acts of service. I love to cook food for people and feed them. I like to feed their tummies and their souls. I really enjoy maybe not being the host that is out in front, but the host that creates a space where people feel comfortable enough to be themselves and then watch that unfold. Last year, I hosted Thanksgiving at my house, and I don't have a large house. So it was quite a few people because my son brought home about 3 people from college, which was awesome. And then we had all of my family here. We just set up tables like in the living room and all around. And it was nice because I got to cook for everybody. And then once I was done cooking and everybody was sitting around eating, I just got to sit back and watch everybody interact. And it made me feel very happy because they were comfortable in my home. So it made me feel like that I created a space that was comfortable for everyone, which, especially in the holidays, like that can be tough because you're working with a lot of different dynamics. Then also, my kids were comfortable to be themselves and for their friends to be there and for them to be themselves. And so that's always nice because my son is growing into a young adult. My goal is to create a relationship with my kids that makes them want to have a relationship with me when they're adults. I put my blood, sweat, and tears into this. I'd like to enjoy it a little bit
Yeah, absolutely.
once they're grown. And so seeing that was the case and that everybody stomach was full and their hearts were full, that made me feel good. So I think that's probably where I get the most pleasure from is taking
Creating
care of
the
others.
community spaces.
Yeah.
full of love. Yes.
Yeah.
That and bringing people together. Yeah.
Yeah. And I kind of feel like I'm good at it. Would you, not to toot my own horn, but you've been at some of my gatherings and I've cooked for you few times.
We've had a lot of fun events and things happen at your house over the years for sure. Oh, for me, I think my strengths are in wanting to inspire others, wanting to make a change, wanting to make an impact. Even whenever I was like screwing up in life, even whenever I was not doing the right thing and we were drinking all the time, and we were being dumb kids. My intention on the inside, and I think that you would know that this is true from the many conversations that we had, was to always try to do something better, make an impact, grow in some way. Even though I wasn't doing it, there were points that I wasn't even like following my own advice or doing any of the things that I was saying. But the want to was always there, and
Yeah,
to make a
absolutely.
difference in the lives of others, and to be able to come alongside people and be like, "This is how I did it, and I can help you to try to figure out how to do it in a way that works for you too." That includes my kids, that includes every single person that I'm around. It's not exclusive to any person. If I love you, if I am yelling at you about drinking, it's because I love you. If I'm saying, like, shut the fuck up and don't drink, just stop poisoning yourself, it's stupid. I'm not trying to be, because people like tiptoe around this, right? They want to be like, oh, you shouldn't, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to tiptoe around that shit. No, stop drinking. You're fucking killing yourself. It's dumb. There's no use to doing it. But the point of me saying that is I want to challenge everybody to be a little bit better today than yesterday or the day before. This is number two of discovering your strengths. What activities leave me wondering, when can I do this again?
Hmm.
Like, rather than when will this be over? Instead of having that, I never want this to be over. It's when can I do this again? Right? Instead of looking at time as scarcity, even though it is, right? Like, you can spend your time however you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that talking to clients, right? Like, I have just a little known fact, I have a little bit of anxiety leading up to any conversations with anybody. Okay. But just because that's just the way I'm wired. But once and training, anything, close quarters, anything. But once I'm in it, talking to my clients, hey, I love being there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, or like whenever I'm telling my child, not whenever I'm yelling at my kid, when I'm yelling at my kid, which is not, I mean, like it's more often than I would like it to be, but it's definitely a place that I'm working on, but it feels tight in my chest and I don't like it, right? Like, but whenever I'm talking to my kid about heartfelt stuff, so whenever I'm yelling, I'm in my ego. Ooh, this is self-integrity, right? Whenever I'm yelling at my kid, I'm in my ego because I'm like, this is giving me anxiety. And that's ego because I'm being selfish, little whiny baby. Versus whenever I'm talking to my kid about dreams and how they all mean something. She's like, duh, of course they mean something because she's a kid and this is not a foreign concept to her. This is a foreign concept to adults, but this is not a foreign concept to kids. Kids are like, well, of course I dream every day. Why would I dream? Like, why would I not dream and think that it was important, right? Significant. Why would I not come to that understanding? And like understanding that about kids is like, we get so stuck in these like familiar patterns that we don't venture out and do things that leave us wondering, when can I do this again? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then what sort of challenges do I run toward? Number three, like that's a good one.
Other people's. I run towards other people's challenges. I like to be a fixer.
Maybe you should learn coaching, Tori.
No. I mean, I'm not saying no, I shouldn't learn coaching. I'm saying I don't know. I mean, I think that I first need to learn, and it's something I have been learning and working on, is that unless someone comes and asks me for help, it's not my responsibility to fix it for them.
Well, what sort of challenges do you dread?
Ones that come with high conflict. Or
Well,
the potential for high conflict, because that is something that I don't enjoy. And even though I've gotten better with it over the years, it is still something that I dread. It's just, yeah.
that's like
Like,
having hard conversations and having high conflict situations is what, at the end of the day, ultimately causes the friction that grows you and makes
right.
you better. So running from those are, I'm gonna be, it's it's ego.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And
Because
so
it's uncomfortable and I
it
don't like
is,
it.
it is, it is.
Yeah.
It is, but it's so vitally important to do because whenever you run from the conflict, you just stay the exact fucking same.
Not even that. It's not even that. If you want to think of line as time as linear, which I don't think of time as linear, but in that concept of time being linear, if you stay the same, it doesn't stay the same. And you, because time is moving forward, it gets worse, right? I know that for a fact because there were things in my life when I went through a huge change of going through a divorce, right? There were things and decisions that I made in that transition that I actively avoided. And I went with the easier option because it created less conflict. And ultimately, what that did was create bigger problems and a bigger mess that I had to clean up down the road because I didn't want to face that at that point in time. I put my head in the sand, or my dad likes to call it, I was an ostrich, right?
Yeah.
I stuck my head in the sand and I said, this isn't happening. I can't deal with this right now. I'll deal with it later. 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 Well, then later, as time is moving forward in that linear concept, that problem is now huge because what could have been easy, an uncomfortable conversation, then turned into patterns of behavior, right?
Yeah.
And on my end, not even anybody else's, mine. It was my end, patterns and behavior that I had allowed something to go on for a certain amount of time because I was avoiding it. And then whenever it came to it, they were like, you allowed this to happen. Like, what
Yeah.
do you
Well,
mean?
but then that's them being in their ego and creating shame and trying to have the ego continue to have its grip on your heart.
For
And
sure, for sure,
that's what that is. And so
for
I
sure.
did find understanding that. But like what the beautiful thing about high conflict situations in real life, like we make it when we're thinking about it, we're overthinking about it in fear and in ego and all of this, we make it more than what it should be. And then whenever it happens and you have to come to the conflict and you fix it, you're like,
Yeah.
what? I was worried about that stupid shit.
Like the amount of conversations that once I started to have that strength to say what I felt in the moment without the shake in my voice because I had the and it only came like the first few times it was there was still shake in my voice, right? Because there I hadn't had the confidence of knowing that like could overcome it. So
Yeah.
then once the more I did it, like the more times I overcame that, and I was like, what? That was so stupid. And I'd even call you and I'd be like, so this is how it went down. You're like, okay, and I'm like, right? That's so anticlimactic compared
Yeah.
to what I thought it was gonna be.
What did you just learn about yourself from that question, from the answer that you had?
um that I need to go towards the things that make me uncomfortable. Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
bing, 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 bing. And that's everybody, right?
Yeah.
Whatever ones that you dread are the ones that are probably going to grow you the most, right? The ones that you run towards are probably going to be the ones that are the most comfortable. And then the ones, of course, people gathering, eating, man, that's comfort, right? But then whenever you think of the shit that you dread running towards, the shit that you like, then it's like, oh, uncomfortable, friction, blah, blah. But on the other side of that friction is that place of flow that you want to be in. On
Right.
because
Yeah.
the lack of action is pulling you back. And then, but then like you don't want to get to a place where there's too much action and then you're like, I'm dying. Like you will
No, it's about balance. That's what I
it's
was
about
telling
balance. So what
Jonathan today. It's all about the balance. It's creating. I said he was saying that his friends like to talk to me because I drop wisdom life nuggets on them. And he goes, and you do it in like this hippie earth mother kind of way. And he was like, and I was like, yeah, I go, it's evolved over time. I was like, but think about it. What did I say when you were like in middle school and high school? All things in moderation, right? And the root of that is balance. It's balance, right? Because if you're doing all things in moderation, then you're not overdoing any one thing. And it's about creating that balance. It's about that yin and yang. It's about the collective, the flow of both because they work together. And yeah, it's about finding the balance and the
the fire
peace.
and water energy that is
Yes.
literally present in every single tradition on the planet Earth.
Fire, water.
Maybe sometimes, but not all the
Yeah,
time.
not all the time. Yeah.
Not all the time. But a balancer is always what's needed, right? So
Mhm.
what takes you away from, and then, but then like also recognizing that and being honest enough with yourself to say, like, my fear of conflict is holding me back and it is unfounded and it is also creating a lack of balance in my life, and being able to say that and be like, and why are all those things true? Because I'm not leading with my heart, I'm leading with ego. And that's why Saul is such a good example, because Saul hid from God because he was scared. I Oh, we didn't talk about Doeg. We'll talk about Doeg a different day. You guys can go look up Doeg. He's a butthole. He's like Judas. Him and Judas are sitting next to each other in hell. Go look up Doeg. He's a bastard. But that's why Saul is an excellent example of the ego, because Saul is a punk and your ego is a punk. Your ego is a punk bitch. It's just holding you back. So if you kill that punk bitch, and then David didn't even kill him. So the heart doesn't have to kill the ego. The ego just dies. It just withers away the more you use your heart, the more you choose to use your heart with wisdom. Don't just go heart into stuff with no wisdom. You need wisdom.
Wisdom creates discernment.
Right. Well, like that's like the understanding when you're choosing and your ego over your heart, and being able to have that level of self-integrity to say, that's okay that I'm doing this. I am literally a human person. This is my choice. Should I choose ego? Should I choose heart? Well, am I being afraid, scared little bitch for no reason? Yeah, okay, then I'm gonna go this way, because that's a good indicator that you're choosing ego, right? That you're choosing incorrectly. And how do you balance that out? By choosing correctly. And it's not always easy to see, right? Like sometimes you could be an ego being like, I'm leading with my heart, but you're really an ego because you're
Yeah,
trying to make everybody see you for leading with your heart,
right,
instead of being humble, because part of leading with your heart, one of the most important parts of leading with your heart is humility.
right.
Because if you get haughty, then you're right back in ego. Like, how quick can the scale tip to get you back there?
Hmm.
Oh, wait, number four. We didn't do number four. Um, what sort of tasks do I learn easily? And which do I struggle with?
Um, sorry. I'm giggling at myself because in my head I was like, I'm good at all of them. I don't struggle with anything. So humility maybe just a little bit. I think that I struggle picking up on things that I lack interest in, right? So if I'm interested in something, I will pick it up pretty quickly, and because I have interest to learn about it, right? But if I do not have interest in it, it's a struggle. It is a big time struggle for me to, because I will read it, but I'm not thinking about it because my brain is thinking about all the things that I want to think about and not what I'm reading about. So then I have to reread it and reread it and reread it. I've learned whenever I know that it's something that I'm not interested in, I tackle it first because I'm trying to get it out of the way. Because I used to procrastinate and put that to the very last thing because I did not want to have to deal with it. And then I would always run out of time because I can't get it done in the same amount of time that I can something that I'm interested in. And I would leave only the amount of time that I would take if it was something that I was interested in. And so I would fall short and have to somehow scramble to cover my ass. If it's not something I'm interested in, then I really struggle with it.
Me, what do I struggle with? What do I struggle with? Getting mad at people for not learning as fast as me.
Yes, I'm glad you said it.
Because what sort of tasks do I learn easily? All tasks.
All tasks at a
If you
very quick rate.
like this. But
Mhm.
and if you are asking a question, I will give an example. We'll plug Huberman one more time because he's gonna pick up this podcast. He's gonna pick it up right away. He's doing it. It's because, yes, it's happening. Anyways, maybe not from this particular one because it's the pilot episode. Maybe find a different episode down. No, I think that we talked about things that were great, but I just like more flowy stuff. As we get more into our groove, I think there will be more of these in the future. But I love like the BTS behind the scenes type situation where it's like we're new, we're learning, we're growing. This is the first time we're talking, we're figuring this out, and then you guys get to come along for the ride. So I really like that. But there's this chick on there. Andrew Huberman talks about getting sunlight in your eyes like every day, dude. Like if you just scroll his Instagram, you will find it, right? Like there's most of them, like his beautiful blue eyes. He's got like the sun shining in the flecks of the most beautiful blue eyes on the planet Earth. And he's talking about the sun, right? But this lady comments and she's like, even on an overcast day, and literally he says it over and over. Yes, even on an overcast day, right? And as soon as I read it, I was like, well, like, how do I know that that wasn't just in her explore, whatever, and she just found him? She never fucking heard him say one word ever before. That's how I think, like, in a meeting. That's how I think, like, really, you have to ask a question about the thing that he just said? Like, he just said it. He just said it. You have to ask, write it down. But yeah, so I struggle with that. I don't want to come off as not with the people that I coach. No, it's with colleagues or people that are like supposed to be on the same level of understanding as me, or people that are older than me. That's like me being real, right? Understanding those things about myself that helps me to understand like what I need to do to be able to collaborate better with others and meet them where they are. Also, even colleagues, even people that are supposed to be at the same level as me, everybody does not learn at the same rate as me. And
Correct.
like there was a long time when I didn't even know that I was really even a smart person. So that I think that because I just thought I was regular, everybody figured like was just like it was just they were just being dumb. There's like no way that because I thought I was dumb. So, and that's the truth. I did not think that I was smart, and then people started telling me like your brain works faster than, and I was like, what? No,
Yeah, me.
yeah,
On a regular basis, talking you down, going, well, you know that not everybody's brain works like yours does.
and I
You're
was
like, well, that's annoying. I'm like, it is. I'm sure that it's incredibly annoying. However, let's give them a little bit of grace, just a
But
little
I
bit.
didn't, yeah, now,
Yeah.
now it's like, oh, my brain just formulates an understanding really fast. Like these
Yes.
neurons connect really quickly, and they can have continued to in old age. Like I hear humans say as you grow, your neurons don't grow as fast and stuff like that. Like I'm not a brain scientist, so I may have that wrong. That's not a direct quote. I don't find that true. I feel like my brain is working at an accelerated pace the more that I use it. And because I'm using it, it's still just as neuroplastic as it was, even more because whenever I was in my 20s, I was drunk. Like whenever I was in my 20s, like I was severely depleting my brain of thiamine every day
Mhm.
and filling my body full of toxins just because we were bored because it was slow at the bar, right? I was a
Yeah.
bartender for 18 years. That's another aspect of our lives that is probably far more interesting than all of the theoretical stuff we talked about today. And we will definitely get into that stuff because it's fun, crazy bar fights, ridiculous stuff. Um, me being the breaker upper of bar fights whenever my boss is 6'4". Why are you sending me into battle? Because you have a mom voice. Okay, whatever that means. And it's true. I could put my hand on a man's shoulder and be like, calm down, buddy. And he would just be like, okay. So maybe that's why. But yeah. Um, yeah. There was a lot of times. So like now I feel my brain is working better and all the time.
Yeah.
Whenever anything impedes it, it pisses me off. I hate it. So like I like not doing dream analysis last night. Like I feel like I didn't sort through the things that needed to be sorted. Not that like it's just delay, it's a delay game. And I know tonight whenever I dream, I'll be like, oh well, this is what you said yesterday, huh? But like integrating that subconscious has really become a thing that's something that like that is important for just added neuroplasticity. But yeah, so let's wrap this up. Today was a good day. There was a lot involved, and we kind of went all over the place. But I think it's a great podcast for our pilot program podcast. There's a lot of growth in there. There's a lot of things that can help other people to have wisdom and lead with their heart, and to be more honest with themselves, and to be understanding of themselves, and be willing to grow, and all of the things. Thank you for being on this ride with me and letting me drag you into uncomfortable situations that grow you.
Thanks. You're welcome. I'm just kidding.
I keep asking her, like, is anything off limits? I'm like, all right, here we go, pep pep. So I'm proud of you for saying no and for allowing me just to have free reign. And yeah, I think it was a good podcast. I'm excited to watch it back and edit it and post it. Pressure refinement. I don't know. We'll have to come up with something. Maybe I'll do like a recorded blurb. The name of this podcast, sponsored by.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do this, and this is where you put it in across here,
right across your boobs.
right across my boobs. This is marketing. Marketing.
Boobs, boobs.
Boobs.
One time I had a dream that, oh
Boobs.
my God, here we go. OnlyFans.
Edit that out.
One time I had a dream that Pharrell Williams was my boyfriend, and he had like 15 other girlfriends, and I met them all, and we all lined up like good game, lined up and met each other, and after I walked away, every single one of them said titties. I had that dream whenever I was so young. I was like 26.
It seriously made an impact because you still remember it.
What the fuck, dude?
Titties. The hell. That's funny.